Hey all, welcome to Learn It. Today let me share with you a few tips on how you should approach anatomy in your first year. So first of all, how to study anatomy. So the three major resources which you need for studying anatomy is Atlas books and 3D app. Okay? So these are the three major resources without which studying anatomy would become very difficult for you. Okay? So coming to the atlas, the gold standard of all the atlas is Netter's atlas. So I would recommend you all to buy this Netter's atlas. It has got beautifully illustrated diagrams and it's really helpful when you will have to study the relation of a particular nerve or a muscle or whatever, an artery. It's very easy when you look at these diagrams which are illustrated by which are self hand drawn illustrations. Okay, so Netters is the gold standard. I want every one of you to buy this. It's really helpful when it comes to studying in Indian author books like B.D. Chaurasia. It's really difficult to study the diagram from the book itself. So you'll require Netters to supplement B.D. Chaurasia, which is the major book followed in India. Alright, the next atlas which some colleges follow is Grant's atlas. This is also good but not as good as Netters. Okay, if you're gonna buy an atlas, buy Netters. Next atlas would be Macmillan's and Abraham's. This atlas I'm telling you, you can have it as a PDF. It's really helpful for cadaveric images. So whenever you have spotters in your anatomy practicals, what you can do is you can just look into the images of this book, and it's really helpful for that, for practical anatomy. The skull bones, all the bones, and for osteology as well as for the spotters which are conducted in during your university examinations. So majorly I would want you to buy this Netter's atlas and have this Macmillan's atlas as a PDF. Alright. So moving on to the books. One of the gold standard book is Gray's Anatomy. You'll have one is your clinical book, which is you'll have one clinical book and the other one is your students edition. So I would suggest you to buy the students edition. I had purchased the 4th edition of Gray's Anatomy. It comes in a purple cover. So it's a very beautiful book. I want every one of you to enjoy the beauty of anatomy by studying this book. But again, it's not much required for Indian exams. But really, it's a really great book. You'll understand the concepts, the core concepts of anatomy only by looking at the diagrams and the simple language which is used in your Gray's Anatomy Students Edition. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you to buy this book and enjoy studying anatomy. The other book which I would suggest you all is this Moore's Clinically Oriented Anatomy. This is also good, but provided you have much time, you have sufficient time, you can go and have a look into this book. It's also really good. Okay. So certain concepts are really given, beautifully explained in Moore's, whichever is not given in Gray's. Gray's Anatomy's student's edition does not cover every aspect which is given in your Indian author. So basically studying Gray's Anatomy student's edition alone will not suffice to crack your, to pass even in the university examinations. It would be very difficult if you study only this gold standard book. So you'll have to definitely study the Indian author book like B.D. Chaurasia or Vishram Singh. Okay, so this again, but don't limit yourself to those books. You'll have to definitely come and try this book because it's really beautiful. Okay, second book is Moore's Clinically Oriented. The third book is, of course, the gold standard, the red book or the Bible, whatever they say. It's your B.D. Chaurasia. And nowadays, these days, you have also got Vishram Singh. One advantage of Vishram Singh over B.D. Chaurasia is that it has got simplified diagrams which you can easily reproduce in your exams. Okay, so I would suggest you to buy Vishram Singh, but if you have bought B.D. Chaurasia, you need not buy Vishram Singh. You can have it as a PDF. Okay, so B.D. Chaurasia and Vishram Singh are almost the same except for the differences in their diagram. Okay, diagrams are the most important in anatomy. If you're like thorough with each and every diagram, then you can easily get distinction even in distinction or honors in your university exams. Okay, and you can also ask me like, will studying B.D. Chaurasia, like only buying this book, will it suffice for cracking university exam? Yes, it will definitely. But again, for further and in-depth understanding, for enjoying the subject, I would definitely recommend you to use Gray's Anatomy Students Edition as well as the Netter's Atlas. All right, so these are the books which I would recommend you to follow. All right, coming to the 3D app. So when it comes to anatomy, it's all about you imagining it, right? So whenever you have a 3D app, it'll definitely help you a lot. So one of the, beautiful app is this complete anatomy of this Elsevier. So I would, it's a bit costly, okay? The cost is around 3,000 or something. I don't know exactly, but it's really good. You can, your anatomy will become very easy, without even atlas you can manage with this 3D app almost. Okay, whenever you're studying Indian author books like BD Chaurasia or Vishram Singh, it would be very difficult for you to study and remember line by line. Okay, so for that you can just visualize it. Visualization is the key thing in anatomy. So for visualizing you can use this app called Complete Anatomy by Elsevier. I got to know it very late, so I just wanted to share it with you. Yeah, you can buy it if you're within the reach. Number two is this Anatomy 3D Atlas. This app is for free, and it's produced by this Catfish Animation Studios. It has got it's free partially for upper limits, free, and few other features are free, but you can also unlock it by paying some amount. Okay, so for studying these muscles and all, muscles and their location, like arteries, the cores of the arteries and all, you can also study in this. This is good, but this is definitely better. Okay, Complete Anatomy by Elsevier. So this is one of the key aid to help you in studying each and every line of the Vishram Singh or BD Chaurasia. Okay, so basically it helps you in visualization and imagining all stuffs. Okay, you'll definitely not get this with by only studying this BD Chaurasia. Okay, either you'll have to basically you start what you do whenever a teacher is gonna teach, a professor is gonna teach, you study BD Chaurasia. But before that, what I would say is first you study Gray's Anatomy, then you come to BD Chaurasia. While you're studying BD Chaurasia, for looking at the relations and all, you can go for Netter's Atlas, or you can go for this 3D app. Okay, so for muscles, like whether they are unipinnate or bipinnate and all, those are all like very clearly explained. Their origin and insertions, everything is given beautifully in this 3D anatomy app. Okay. Number 4 is this video lecture. So with the above said three things itself, your anatomy will become very simple. But again, when you feel really bored studying anatomy, you can also watch few video lectures. What I felt useful was Ken Hub for neuroanatomy especially, and neuroanatomist Professor Morton. He's really good at explaining anatomy. I really liked his lectures very much. So this was the a major resource for me to study anatomy. Like when I didn't understand something, like for abdomen, the peritoneum concept is beautifully explained by this sir, Professor Morton. So yeah, you can go for it. You can also go for Dr. Najib lectures for neuroanatomy. They're useful. Yeah, but I didn't really watch much of his lectures. For me, books were better than lectures. So yeah, having said this, so this was all for your gross anatomy. Okay, so coming to the embryology part. For embryology, definitely you'll not have much time, so you can go for Inderbir Singh or Vishram Singh's embryology book is also really good. The diagrams are very simple, so I would prefer Vishram Singh over Inderbir Singh's textbook of embryology. And you can also go for Langman's embryology. It's also really good. It's again a standard book, but for cracking Indian exams, I think Vishram Singh would suffice. And that was for embryology. For histology, again, Inderbir Singh. Inderbir Singh's histology book is what is followed. And what else? So that's it. For neuroanatomy, what I would say is I would suggest you to use Vishram Singh's clinical neuroanatomy book, because BD Chow more than it's better than BD Chaurasia. So clinical neuroanatomy of for neuroanatomy, please use Vishram Singh over BD Chaurasia. It's really good. But in case you're not comfortable with this book of Vishram Singh, you can go for BD Chaurasia. It has got bigger font and it's very simple. Vishram Singh's clinical neuroanatomy, it's a separate book. It doesn't come with the gross anatomy. the neuroanatomy part of Vishram Singh comes as a separate book. It's clinical neuroanatomy, okay? So yeah. So having said all this, yeah, good luck to you all and hope you enjoy studying anatomy. Thank you for watching this video.